I was wondering if you guys were hearing what it is that I was saying, and I got my answer to that question. But yeah, to kind of pick up where I left off in regards to should we really be teaching our children or not teaching, right? Well, are we ready to practice meditation in schools, in American schools? Are we ready to practice meditation in American schools? If I'm completely honest with you, I don't think we're ready for that yet. I don't. I think America is not ready for that yet. And this is coming from somebody who meditates on a daily basis. I meditate every single day. Well, I won't say every single day because some days I don't meditate. But for the most part, I meditate. Let's say I meditate most days, right? Let's say I meditate at least, at the very minimum, 20 days out of the 30 or 31 or the 29, 28 that's in the month, right? So the majority of the days out of the month, I meditate, right? And when you're meditating, it's almost as if you're transcending the physical dimension, right? And you're guiding your awareness and your attention away from, I don't know, maybe the past, away from your troubles, right? Away from maybe the things that are going on around you. But you're guiding yourself off into a more spiritual dimension, a more spiritual way of being, right? Meditation is an absolute beautiful thing, right? So don't get it twisted. I'm never going to tell you that I'm against meditation because I am not. I think everyone should meditate, but that's just my personal opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's your opinion, and you can do it if you want. If you don't want to do it, that's okay as well, right? But in the American school system, in the school systems, right, there are a lot. Okay, so even before we get into the school system, right, we can't be naive to believe that the world doesn't have, let's call it duality. Let's say opposites, right? There's positive, there's negative, there's up, there's down, right? So while you may have positive intentions, big up Boise, Idaho in the house. While you may have positive intentions, there's a reason why you've never seen a monk sit in front of a tribe of lions, a bunch of lions, and just sit there and just meditate. He never sits in front of the alligators and just say, let's meditate, right? Because it's foolish. What are you going to tell the hungry lion? Oh, listen, just wait until I'm done meditating, then we'll have a conversation about this. And that's kind of what I think about when I think about American schools, right? Surely I'm not going to say it's the Wild Wild West because maybe there is more good than bad, right? But at the same time, we can't forget about all the incidents, all the violent incidences. I don't want to get too deep into it, right? Because I don't want to mention something where they think that this is what we're promoting. We're not, right? But all the violent incidences that occur in schools right across America. And not just the violent situations, the vulnerability of it all, right? As children, already being vulnerable as children, now they have to close their eyes and transcend, basically send their awareness out of the physical dimension, send their awareness away from the past. Send their awareness away from what's going on around them And I think kids should be alert. I think they should be aware. I think they should pay attention to what it is that's going on around them. That's how they will learn. So while I'm not against meditation, right? I think kids should meditate before they go to school. I think they should meditate after school. And if so, if the parent so chooses, go spend some time with your kids. You bring your kid away from school and you guys go meditate together in a safe environment for the children. So so I probably, maybe I worded it wrong when I said student. So I was basically talking about children. So that's what was in my head, and I may have to change the title to children, right? So I'm not against students meditating, adult students, getting into their car, getting away from everything and meditating. I'm not against that. I think that's a phenomenal thing. As long as you're somewhere safe, as long as you're somewhere where where you trust your environment, right? Not going to say everything is foolproof. But at the same time, as long as you're somewhere where you feel like, all right, cool, the coast is clear, everything is okay, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and release my attachment to this physical dimension and transcend this dimension, get away from my past pains, get away from my trauma, press the reset button, come back, and go again. It's a beautiful thing. By all means, go ahead and do it. But I don't believe that vulnerable children, right? Because this is something that I see happening, right? Vulnerable children should not be somewhere where they do not, or they're not aware. What's up, Sunil? This guy keeps calling me Mark Henry. All right, man, Mark Henry. Big up, Sunil. But again, the American school system is just, I don't believe that it's ready for that yet. I do not believe. And then let's take away certain factors, right? There are some teachers who are, let's say, a little perverted or a lot perverted, right? We're not going to dive too deep into that, right? But that's also another aspect that you don't want your children to be vulnerable around certain individuals, right? And then let's talk about the person with ulterior motives. Maybe this person isn't in the school, but they know the schedule of when the kids go and meditate. So now that they know when the kids go and meditate, they know when they could creep in and maybe they just want to steal something. Right? Because the awareness is not in the physical dimension. Whenever you are in public, in America, especially in America, I don't know how things go in other countries. I know there are countries that are a lot more peaceful in this, that, and the third. But you have to be alert and aware. Exactly. The P word. You have to be alert and aware. I don't know about you guys, but I teach my kid, always be aware of your surroundings. Get off the phone when you're in public. When you're crossing the street, be aware of where you are. Look both ways, right? I'm not going to be an idiot about it. Yes, I'm a spiritual person, right? But I was also given senses, right, to pay attention to what it is that's going on around me. So I'm not going to be a complete idiot. I'm not going to go off into the lion's den and, because I'm meditating, the lion's going to leave me alone. That's a foolish perspective. What's going on, Sunil? So we're talking about the meditation in the United States school system. They're trying to implement that with children. I don't know if it's right across the board, but I did see something today, and I did take a position on that. I do not believe America is ready for that yet. So if you're going to teach the kids about meditation, I'm all for that. Teach them about meditation. And if they have any questions, they could come ask their father. They could ask their mother. They could go research it online. Right? But as far as them going around you, I don't know you like that. As far as them being vulnerable around you, I can't co-sign that. So should kids learn how to meditate? Absolutely. That's a phenomenal thing. I think it would really help society. But let's ease it into this. Let's ease it in first, right? Let's get a practice run first. Let's make this generation teach this generation about it. And when this generation learns and they're practicing it, right, they can implement new things. So when the time comes when we're ready, right, America's already ready for it because the collective consciousness of the people in America is now completely different than it was yesterday. He says, what style is this? Yes, take the headphones out, look both ways, and then look again. Pay attention. Be alert. Be alert at all times. Pay attention to what's going on in your environment. You see any sudden changes? Ask yourself, is that normal? Should I really be talking to this person? Probably not. I do not know this person. Why is this person being so extremely kind and nice to me? Right? Not to say you want to be suspicious to everybody, but America is simply not ready for people to be vulnerable yet. It's going to take time for people to really work that into the system. We're just not ready yet. Malcolm Jamal Warner, I get that all the time. Sunil's the only one that thinks I look like Mark Henry, by the way. They should learn it from their parents, not your teacher. Listen, Frago the monkey, absolutely, ideally, that's the way how you should learn it. Your parents should teach you about it. Just like any religious practices or anything of that sort, right? Because even with the subject of religion, people are religious. I'm not the most religious person in the world. I consider myself more spiritual than anything, right? But when it comes to religion, right, I may have my certain beliefs about whatever religion it is that I quote unquote follow. But here you are, maybe even of the same religion, but you're teaching and telling my kid something completely different than what we believe in. And now my kid is coming back and they're telling me, hey, listen, I don't think that's not how we're supposed to do it. You're doing it wrong. Who told you that? Oh, my teacher said. Huh? And then that creates a completely different situation now. Because now you're teaching my kid something that I don't believe is right. You see where you're crossing blurred lines? You see why you're crossing over into territory that you shouldn't be in? Let this be something that we implement into this generation. Okay, boom. Tell them about meditation, if you so choose. If they got questions, they ask their parents. They do their research, they this, that, and the third. But we're not ready. We're not ready to implement that into the school system as yet. And don't forget, Adam says, and don't forget to wear a bulletproof vest when you're outside. Okay, Adam. Okay, Adam. I mean, look, and I know you're being sarcastic. I know you're being sarcastic about that. But at the current climate of how things are, right? Especially the things that we give our awareness and our attention to. Especially if we're living in certain environments such as maybe Memphis and Chicago and, Jacksonville or, certain environments that are very hyper aggressive, right? Think about living in these environments where violence, right, is like playing a game of tag to a lot of these kids. Right? So instead of them going to the park and playing basketball, that's how they play ball. And they don't care who's around. How many times do you hear about bystanders getting hit by something that wasn't meant for them? Or people having zero regard for human life? This is, honestly, this is the current climate that we live in. Right? So until our awareness, until our frequency, until our vibration as a collective is elevated to the frequency where we no longer see these incidents, whether in isolation or as something that's as normal, we simply are not ready for that level of vulnerability, especially with the children. Big Dog says inflation just getting higher. Maddie says, I just joined. What are we talking about? Well, Maddie, I kind of took a stance, right? And I normally don't necessarily do this, but I kind of took a stance against teaching, well, not teaching, but practicing meditation in school, even though I meditate every day. And some of the examples that I gave is there's a reason why you don't go into a lion, the lion's habitat, or in the tiger's habitat, or in the wild and just sit there and meditate. You meditate in an area where you feel is safe. Period. You're not going to meditate in a war zone. You're not going to meditate when it's time to decide whether it's fight or flight. That's not a time to meditate. That's not the time to go inward. That's not the time to really sit there and make yourself vulnerable. Right? You have to come to a state of calm. You have to be in a place where you're safe enough to be calm. Right? And not to say you're not going to be calm in certain situations when, it's required for you to be calm and use your rational mind and this, that, and the third. But how are you now going to sit here and transcend the third dimension and go off into a completely different dimension, right? While your body is still here, but you're around people that you don't necessarily really know these people. You think you know them, but you don't know them. No problem, Maddie. But yeah, guys, that's what I feel in regards to that. You're meditating, you're transcending this dimension. You're meditating, you're taking yourself away from the past, right? You're focusing your mind or your awareness. You're taking control of your focus and your awareness, right? And your attention, I should say, and your awareness. And you're placing it wherever you choose to, wherever you see fit. I don't think that's something that you should be doing around people that you wouldn't trust in the third dimension, or that your parents don't trust in the third dimension. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like my parents were perfect, but they kept me away from PDFs. My mom did a fantastic job keeping me away from PDFs, right? Even though she wasn't around a lot of times because she was working. Or when I was a teenager and I wasn't living with my mom. You understand what I'm saying? So when it's all said and done, there's a certain level of protection that parents still, to protect your child is your first responsibility as a parent. To make sure that they're safe is your first responsibility as a parent. Right? Make sure that they're safe. Take care of them, feed them, clothe them, and do everything else. Right? So as parents, making sure that your child is safe, I don't think that's something that we're ready to implement. Practicing meditation is not something we're ready to implement in American schools. If they want to teach them about meditation, that's all fine and dandy. Teach them how to meditate. I did, God's Rose. I had a fantastic, phenomenal day. Thank you so much for joining. Adam says, I think meditation is not going to solve any problem. First and only. Okay. Adam, we're going to get back to what it is you said. Let's see some of these. Okay. All right. So Frago the Monkey says, I've meditated in Iraq while I was deployed, and you have to believe that you are safe enough to meditate. I agree. You have to believe that you're safe enough to meditate, right? But you're not going to meditate when things pop off. So of course, if you're in an enclosed environment and you have all the rest of your platoon with you, or the rest of your troops with you, the rest of your squad with you, right? And these are the people that you guys are all in this together. You guys are defending and protecting one another. right? You're going to feel safe around them because you're all depending on one another to make it up out of that situation alive. So I don't think in a situation like that, it's bad for you to really sit there and meditate. But you're not going to meditate in the middle of the war zone while the war is popping off. Right? And the schools is all different types of people in the school. All different types of people. Think how many psychopaths are out there. Think how many psychopaths you come in contact with and you pass on the highway when you're coming the road that cut you off without a care and just keep going. Right? So it's just one of those things. I don't think kids should be in such vulnerable states or places. Maddie says none of us are perfect. I can agree with that. None of us are perfect. You're right about that. But we're perfectly us, right? We're perfect creatures. On one level, we're perfect because the universe doesn't make any mistakes. But on another level, we're not always in alignment with the things that we do. We're not always completely immersed in the things that we do. Sometimes we do things out of anger. Sometimes we do things out of other negative, other emotions. Sometimes we do things out of spite. Sometimes we do things that we're just completely unaware of. All right? And that's the main thing that kind of brings us out of our sort of, how could you put this now? Sort of brings us out of perfection because we're not in alignment with the universe. None of us are perfect. Let's see what Frago the monkey says. It's not a constant state of meditation. I wouldn't go to the club and start meditating. Exactly. That's another thing that I actually thought about today. I'm not going to go into the middle of the club and sit there and meditate. There's a time and a place for everything. Hence why, even with religion, right? Even though we're not the most religious podcast, we're not the most religious people, right? But there's a reason for religion. There's a reason why you have the mosque. There's a reason why you have religious temples. There's a reason why you have churches. Because there's a time and a place for everything. You understand what I'm saying? So now when it comes to schools, especially in a place like America, especially in a place where we have extremists, people that are extreme, whether it be extreme left or extreme right, or have just extreme views on the world, right? I think it's better for us to just be balanced and just accept that, okay, cool, my parents might practice meditation. Maybe, listen, the flip side of that coin is this, right? You'll have certain religions, they don't believe in meditation, even though, for me, prayer is a form of meditation. Like, I remember having a conversation with a young lady. This is probably about a month and a half back, right? I had a conversation with her. And I was basically telling her about meditation. I was telling her why it is that I seem like I'm in such a high spirit all the time. And I was letting her know that, yeah, I meditate every day. Every time I get a chance to, I will sit there and I will meditate, right? And I would tell her about certain affirmations that I tell myself. I would tell her about my frequency. I would tell her about me trying to elevate my frequency and the things that I do to do that, right? And you know what she looked at me and said? She said, I don't believe in that. And she said, I will pray for you. And you know something? I wasn't even mad. Right? Because even though she asked about it, she still has her perspective and how she views the world. And I'm not trying to change that. I'm not trying to force any belief onto you. I think you're perfectly you and you're fine the way you are. So even if I figured or I know something or I feel like I know something that you don't, and I try to tell you that or I try to guide you and I try to lead you to the lake, so to speak, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to do it. And I'm perfectly okay with that. We could just agree to disagree. And it'll be the same thing because I know I was a little kid that was always asking questions. I was a little kid that just wanted to know everything about everything. And a lot of you know as well. Why is this that? Why is the light shining? What is a light? What makes the light bulb? What is this and what is that? You'll be asking your parents stuff they do not even know. So sometimes they get to the point where they just tell you some BS so you could just shut up. You'll be asking people stuff they don't even know. You understand what I'm saying? So kids are naturally going to be curious. So for me, yes, if you're going to teach the kids about meditation, but don't practice it in schools. You guys, America, we are not ready to be practicing meditation in schools as yet. We're just simply not there yet. We have some way to go before the collective of this country is ready to start practicing meditation in schools. People are going to be simply too vulnerable in a place where you have a lot of people. You can say a lot of people. I'm not going to say everyone, but you could say a lot of people that just have a negative vibration, or they're just in a negative frequency, right? And one doesn't exist without the other. Positive doesn't exist without negative, right? But until we get to the point where we have a safe space for it, right? Or until we get to the point where we have this safe environment where everyone there is on the same frequency, and we know that for a fact. And it would only start with certain schools. It's not going to be every single school. Then you could start implementing that. But I just don't think we're ready for that yet. Adam says, I don't think meditation is going to solve any problem. Adam, I don't necessarily agree with that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get a little drink of water. I don't think I agree with that. I think meditation helps with a lot of things, right? Especially when it comes to, even if you just want to take a surface level approach to it, right? Where you're taking your awareness away from the past, taking your the active mind, right? You have so many thoughts running through your head right throughout the day, right? Boom, back and forth, right? Stuff that you didn't even invite there, you're thinking about. You're thinking about this. You're thinking of what am I going to eat for dinner? What did I eat yesterday? Well, oh my God, what if this guy, trips and falls? Whatever it is, right? You just have constant thoughts going right through your head, all day long. Just an overload of thoughts. And when you meditate, you take your awareness away from all of those thoughts, those random thoughts that are going through your head, right? So now you're sitting there and you're aware, maybe you're aware of those thoughts, but now you're just observing those thoughts, completely detached from them. Because all of these thoughts, they tend to change the chemical balance in your body. You're thinking these thoughts that are changing your chemical balance, that are changing that's changing your chemistry, basically, right? So think about when you think about something completely negative. Man, whatever that negativity is, you start to feel it, right? Because now you're not aware of your awareness of it. So now you're immersed in this vibration of negativity. Now you're there. So now that you're in this vibration of negativity, what now happens? It starts to take over you, right? You start to embody the characteristics of that negativity. I put some grease in my hair. Sorry about that. I just saw it kind of leaking. But yeah, you start to now embody that negativity, right? Because now you're matching the frequency of your thoughts, right? Now, a person that meditates, they're able to be aware of the thoughts that they might be picking up, right? Because sometimes we pick up thoughts that ain't even our thoughts, right? We're thinking somebody else's thoughts, thinking that it's our thoughts, and we're identifying with what someone else is thinking and their vibration and what's going on over there, right? Just like the cell phone, just like the Wi-Fi signal. Because I know some of you still in Wi-Fi looking at this right now. I'm kidding. I'm joking. But just like how you go to McDonald's and you use the Wi-Fi, and many people could use that Wi-Fi, just like how you could change the channel on your TV. Sometimes you're picking up on frequencies, on different vibrations of the people all around you. Why do you think when somebody says something and you match that vibration, you feel what they feel? Yeah, he's absolutely right. I mean, these things are powerful. These are very powerful things. Our thoughts are so powerful. The frequencies that we place or we immerse ourselves into, it's very powerful, guys. Right? So meditation Meditation allows you to be aware of this, of what's going on, right? So you're now aware of the thoughts that you're thinking, and you're detached from it while observing it, right? So you step away from that dimension, right? And you're observing these thoughts that are just passing by you. Okay, completely detached from it. You don't have any feelings from it. You don't have any hatred towards it, right? You're just completely detached from it, and and you just transcend it. So I think meditation does help with a lot of stuff, and I think meditation will solve a lot of things in the future. But we have to gradually get to that point. It's not an overnight thing. It's not a quick fix microwave Uber Eats thing, right? It's not one of those things. So we have to gradually work our way into that. Okay. Hello, good sir. Hope you had a blessed day. Thank you so much, God's Rose. And that is a beautiful name. And I thank you very much for checking in on me and saying that to me. And I hope you had a blessed day as well. First and only, gangster brother, how are you? I don't know about the gangster part, but big up yourself. Why do we have to meditate? Why not talk about our problems to people we trust? So meditate. So because we're spiritual beings, especially when we immerse ourselves in the present, you don't have to really close your eyes to meditate, right? That's just the one aspect, the basic level of it, right? Whenever you're doing something that you love doing, that's a form of meditation. When you're completely immersed in the present and you're doing something that you love doing, that's also a form of meditation as well. So even if you are talking about your problems with somebody that you know and trust, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But make sure you trust them and make sure you know them. So while there's nothing wrong with sitting and talking to somebody that you know and love and trust, right? Meditation adds a completely different dimension. Meditation is your own personal spiritual relationship with yourself and your relationship with the higher power. If you want to call it God, if you want to call it the universe, if you want to call it whatever it is that you want to call it, energy, whatever, right? That's your prerogative, what you choose to call it. But that's your personal relationship with that and your personal relationship with the things that have happened to you in the past. So what if you don't have anybody that's around you? Do you sink into the abyss? What if you don't have somebody around you that you know and love and trust? What do you do then? Well, God is omnipotent. God is omnipresent. The universe is everywhere at all times. So why not go and visit or have a conversation with your higher self? Have a conversation with God. Have a conversation with the universe. Sit with the universe and go inward. But it's ultimately it's up to you. Again, I'm not advertising. I'm not advocating. I'm not telling anyone that they have to meditate or they have to do this. It would be nice for you to do this, right? You may thank yourself for doing this, and it may not be for you. It may not be something you will ever be interested in, and that's okay too. Shout me out. I would like to subscribe. Okay, thank you for the subscription. I really do appreciate that. Fergie Wins, big shout outs to you. Tell us where you're from. God's Rose says, I know what it's like, what it feels not to be aligned. Me too. I think right throughout the day there are times when I'm not in alignment. But because of my awareness and because of me practicing, whenever I do get out of alignment, I don't stay out of alignment. I get back into alignment way quicker than I used to before. So that in itself is an absolute blessing because you don't want to be completely out of balance, right? You want to be in balance. That's when you make the correct decisions. That's when you're able to think quickly on your feet, right? That's when you're completely immersed in destiny and free will, and everything is just working together with you when you're completely immersed in the here and the now. and you're aligned. Can to India, you can meditate here peacefully. Big up, Mr. Dangerous Person said that. That's his name. That's literally his name, Dangerous Person. Dangerous Person is saying, come to India, you can meditate here peacefully. Well, big up yourself. And meditation is something that's very much practiced in the Eastern culture. And we are taught that this is where meditation comes from, right? But there are different forms of meditation. And meditation, again, anytime you're immersing yourself into something, right, and you're completely in alignment with it, that is also a form of meditation from my perspective as well. I'd say active combat. Nope, not meditating. Exactly, Frago. Exactly. Meditation is just calming yourself to tackle what you have and are about to go through. Absolutely. There you go. You have to be positive or else you're just sad as F. And I completely understand. What's that guy, Mr. Irving? I think his name is Nicholas Irving, the sniper. I've seen some of his videos. He's a guy, he kind of resembles me a little bit. I'll say that we both have dreadlocks and we're both black, right? But yeah, I kind of like I've been watching some of his, like, because he's like this real, like one of the best snipers in American history, right? In terms of being good at what it is that he does. And Nicholas Irving speaks about a lot of very traumatic things that happened, you know, as a soldier in war, right? He speaks about seeing some of his friends, man, just passing away right in front of him, right? He speaks about certain people, their body parts are blowing off, all types of just crazy stuff, right? And you'd have to be a different type of being to look through a scope and take as many lives as he's taken, right? But he speaks about it, a lot of things that did happen to him in combat. And I think that meditation, right, especially for somebody who's been through as much trauma as he has, because it's very traumatic. Trust me when I tell you that, right? You could just feel it when he speaks about it. I think meditation would really bring him back into alignment over time, right? It's not going to be something that's a quick fix. It's not how things work. So sometimes for some people, it is a quick fix. But for other people, it's just going to take some time for them to really get back into alignment. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Frago the Monkey. Thank you so much for your contribution, man. You're really contributing to this conversation, and I love that. I want to take this time out to really shout you guys out, and I want to say I really love the fact that you guys are engaging in this content, that you guys are really, you know, taking your time out to even challenge me, right? If you don't believe it or you don't agree with what I'm saying and you challenge it, then I'm all for that, right? We could have an open dialogue and you could share your perspective and I'll share my perspective, and maybe you'll convince me, maybe I'll convince you, or we could just agree to disagree. Character schools for positive vibes, maybe. Absolutely, Frago. Dangerous Person says you have a point. Mr. Dangerous Person. DLC, big up DLC. You guys go check out the DLC podcast. Check out his channel right there, guys. DLC. That's my guy right there. Check him out. Yeah, Adam says, yeah, I get your point. Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. That's what this is all about. Open dialogue. If you guys don't agree with me, let me know you don't agree with me, and I'll tell you why I take the stance that I take. And when you guys have a different stance, I'm gonna be right here reading right through the comments to hear exactly where you guys stand on a situation, and it just keeps the conversation going. It keeps the dialogue going, and I sincerely appreciate you guys. He says, are you Frago the monk? Hold on one second before we get to Frago. God's Rose says, thank you, brother. I'm blessed. Yes, you are, God's Rose. You're absolutely blessed. And I'm blessed to have you to be a part of this stream, to be completely honest with you. You're one of those people that's just an ever-present, and I really appreciate you. Dangerous Person says, Mahatma Buddha. Mahatma is how he's spelling it. Buddha says, meditation is a way to understand your inner strength of yourself. I could agree with that. Your inner strength, right? I could agree with that. Frago the monkey says, "Are you this positive in the majority of your streams?" I try to be, right? I try to put myself in that frequency, right? It's just something, and I use the term try, right? Because I don't know if I've mastered it yet. But I try to keep myself in that frequency where I'm optimistic, where I see the positive things in life. Because I've been through so many negative things in my life, right? And I realize that there's a role that I absolutely played in the negativity that happened in my life, right? I've been through situations where I was married before and I lost everything at one point, right? And I had to start from absolute ground negative zero, right? And I had to build myself back up. And I went through the struggle, right? And I had to keep myself grounded here, right? And I kept myself grounded there by doing calisthenics and push-ups. I was in a lot better shape at that time. But I was also smoking a lot as well at the time as well. And I'm not talking about cigarettes or anything hard, but, you know, let's just say the thing that's legal right now in New York. But I don't do that anymore. I don't indulge in that. But at the same time, you have to, when you're going through these things, right? There has to be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel in your head. Otherwise, you'll just throw your hands up in the air and just give up. But for me, giving up just wasn't an option. Being in a shelter just was not an option. Right? So, the difficulties that I had to go through in putting one foot in front of the next foot, in front of the next foot, in front of the next foot, right? I had to come into alignment with myself. And I had to not only tell myself, but convince myself that this is all happening for a reason. And I 100% believed and knew that I was going to make it out of that situation. That nothing was going to stop me from making out of this situation. And that if there is a God, if there is energy or whatever it is, then absolutely they are on my side. Right? So I would constantly tell myself these things. When I started losing everything and everything just started just disappear, and I realized, hey, listen, these are all material things. These things are all replaceable. The only thing that's not replaceable is my connection with my child. Right? The only thing that's not replaceable is my connection with myself. My connection with the universe. Right? So go ahead. Take the material things. Take it all. Right? When it's all said and done, you could, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having material things or buying nice things or having this, that, and the third, right? But whatever it is, if it costs money, right, and it's not something that's natural, it is absolutely cheap. I don't care how much money it costs. It's not worth more than your life, right? It could never be worth more than your life. It could never be worth more than your family's life. It could never be worth more than love. It could never be worth more than peace of mind. Serenity. You understand what I'm saying? So it's okay. All of that stuff is cool. It's all a bonus. Right? Like for me, even when it comes to relationships. Yeah, looks are cool, but that's a bonus. Right? Looks are great. You want to be attracted to who it is that you like. But the outside appearance is really a bonus. You understand what I'm saying? But a lot of times what we do is we go off of the outside, right? We're so third dimensional. We're so stuck in this third dimension, right? In this third dimension. And we're just paying attention to the things that we could see, touch, taste, smell, and taste. See, touch, taste, smell, and hear. I'm sorry. Right? So we're just paying attention to those things. And a lot of times, especially the people in the opposite sex, they are well aware of that. Because you'll put yourself in a situation where it's like, you don't even know if you like this girl or this guy or whatever it is, right? If you're a woman or whatever, right? You don't know if you like this person. But here you are, worried about whether or not this person likes you. You don't know anything about this person. That person could be an absolute maniac. But because that person looks good on the outside, you think to yourself, hey, that's the person I want to be with. And then when you get to know this person, you realize, hold on, wait a second. Whoa, brother, sister, what's going on here? This isn't the person that I thought I knew. But did you really even know the person? Right? So, was that person battle tested? Did you see how that person responds and how that person goes through adversity? Did you see how that person responds when they're upset? Do you see how that person communicates with you in certain situations when you can't do anything for them? Does that person still love you even though you don't drive the Cadillac or the BMW that you had before? Does that person still love you and still check for you and still want the best for you even though things aren't going great? These are all things that you should be asking yourself. I mean, really asking yourself. Eventually have to leave America anyways to avoid the wrath that it will be getting. I don't know, maybe. Appreciate you, DLC. I appreciate you, my guy. Father's Loving Has says, and felt no warmth. He says, I don't agree with you. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. All right, I see. And Frago the Monkey says you have absolutely earned a sub. Well, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. God's Rose says, thanks, brother. Thanks again, brother. Yeah, losing God would be the worst day ever. That says God's Rose. Maria Morales says, is life fun for you? Absolutely. Life is wonderful, right? Life is wonderful. And I don't have to smoke to appreciate how wonderful life is. I don't have to drink to appreciate how wonderful life is. I don't need a whole bunch of people around me to appreciate how great life is. Just having this experience and the universe is guiding me through and just showing me the beauty of nature and showing me different environments and showing me the beauty of how things were intended to be and how the natural beauty of the world, right? The natural beauty within me, the natural beauty around me, the natural beauty in other people, right? So yeah, life is fun. Be right back in a bit. I gotta put my daughter to bed. Man, go ahead, man. You go ahead, Dad. Round of applause to you, man. Round of applause to you, man. Fatherhood first, man, before anything. Just part of being in the flesh that was formed from the ground, brother. Our spirit and flesh will always be in war with each other. You know something, God's Rose? There's some truth to that, but there's also a flip side to that. Because if we allow, again, alignment between the spirit and the flesh, if we allow the flesh and the spirit to work together, right? The limit is not the sky. It's not the moon. The limit is beyond anything you can imagine. Right? Once you get everything in alignment how it was meant to be. Hi, what did my username say? Not entirely sure. John says, yo. Philly says, what's up? What's up, guys? Big up you guys. Big up yourselves. Sorry about that. Love the live stream, says GTVR76. Thank you so much. If you love it, please subscribe. But yeah, guys, in regards to that topic, that's pretty much all that I really wanted to say about that. But yeah, I don't think we are ready for that stuff yet. I don't think America is ready for that yet. I think this is something that we gradually have to work into the school system. I don't think kids need to be vulnerable. I don't think they should be having someone speaking certain things into their unconscious if it is guided meditation, right? Especially somebody who doesn't have their best interests and someone who has their flaws and all of that sort of stuff, right? It's so many different factors that I think the reason why we're not ready for that yet. You can't just drop that in and implement it and just be like, yep, figure it out. God's Rose says, okay, I see your point. But for me, I had to fight with my own flesh. God's Rose, I would suggest you not fight with your flesh. I would suggest you not fight with your flesh. And you could decide whether or not you want to listen to me, but it's completely up to you. If you fought with your flesh in the past, okay, fine. But you're here now in the present. And while you're in the present, you have to realize and understand that there's a reason why you were given the flesh, right? We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and it's okay to have this human experience, right? There's nothing wrong with having the human experience. Sometimes we make decisions without really actually being in complete alignment with that decision, meaning mind, body, spirit, soul, everything just in a complete alignment with that decision that we're making. So that means, all right, cool. I've decided that I'm going to do this. Oh, you're not on board? I'm going to convince my flesh or my spirit or whatever it is to get on board, right? To do this, regardless of whatever the consequences are. And hopefully it's something good, not anything detrimental. I'm not telling you guys to go off and go do something crazy, right? But just to get it in alignment. Get everything into alignment. What is it that I want to do? Okay, that's what I want to do? All right, cool. There's a part of me that's telling me that I can't do it. Listen, we're going to do this. I need you to get on board with this. Okay? You're not the boss here. I need you to get in line. We are going to need you because you're a part of the team. But I need you to get in line. Because if you do it and you fail, what happens? Oh, I should have listened to the voice that told me not to do it. But guess what? The voice that's telling you not to do it, because that voice is not in alignment, because everything is not in alignment, you're always, even when you're doing it, you're paying attention to that voice, even while you're doing it. What you should be doing is bringing that voice, that thing on board, whatever it is, on board. So that all of you are in alignment. Listen, we're going to do this regardless of the... Forget about what it is that's going to happen. We're doing this. Right? And accept whatever comes afterwards. Because all of you was in alignment to do this. You understand what I'm saying? And again, something positive. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and do anything detrimental or go hurt anyone or anything like that. He says, where are you from? New York, New York, by way of Jamaica, Jamaica. I have to fight the flesh to deny my flesh of sins. Okay, that's your perspective. Yeah, I agree with Rose. We constantly have our spirits and our flesh conflicted. Rodriguez says, go Trump. Guys, Rose says, thank you, Adam. I really appreciate you guys. This has been a very phenomenal stream. And I'm glad I kind of did it a little earlier today than I did yesterday. Because last night, guys, I kid you not, I was so tired last night. But I want to take this time out to thank everybody out there for taking the time out of their day to, helping me with this show. Because this show is not... that I feel like I have co-hosts from all over the world. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys. Genuinely, I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Whether it's 30 people in here or it's 3 people in here or 500 or 600, it really doesn't matter. I'm still going to be doing this. I'm still going to be here tomorrow night. Hopefully right when I get home, but by the latest, right? I try to do it before 11:30, if not before 12, right? But I sincerely appreciate you guys, and I love doing this. And this is a form of meditation for me. This is a form of therapy for me. This is everything to me, right? And I hope that I'm bringing value to your lives as well, right? I hope that, while you guys are listening to this, I hope that you bring the value, take the value from it, and it helps to make you a better person. And, you contribute to society, you contribute to the world, you contribute to the universe in a positive way, right? I think that's the biggest thing, I feel like the world, I feel like negativity has enough of its agents, and I feel like when it comes to being positive, a lot of times people don't necessarily see the reward in being positive because they kind of see what it is that's happening on the other side. And I'm not going to tell you that we're not all, capable of doing both positive and negative things, right? Myself included, right? But when it's all said and done, we have good intentions, whatever it is that we're doing, and we're not doing anything to screw anyone over. You know, and yeah, I sincerely appreciate you guys. We have to fight hard to keep our spirit and flesh aligned together. It's so difficult. Adam, it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be, Adam. But yes, sometimes it can be a battle, right? But yeah, guys, alignment. It's all about alignment. It's all about balance, right? And it's not about being holier than thou or comparing yourself to anyone else, right? Everyone has their own struggles and their own things that they're going through in their own unique way, right? You have it in you to overcome whatever it is that you feel is in your way. Don't pay too much attention to what's going on in the third dimension. Go within, transcend this, right? Transcend this third dimension. Take a break sometimes, right? Take a break and relax. Relax, let go and let God. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, we have reached... Well, okay, so I'm going to hang around for maybe another couple minutes, right? Let's say another, 3.5, 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then I'm going to go. But this was a phenomenal stream. This is one of my favorites. I think this one and the one we did 2 nights ago, and I say we because I appreciate having you guys, because you guys just keep this going with the questions that you ask and just the brilliance. You know what I mean? You guys are just brilliant. I wish you the best as well, Adam. I wish you the best as well. Infinite health, wealth, and prosperity. And I want you to, maybe it's completely up to you, but maybe look into meditating. Look into going within and looking to shifting your frequency and your vibration, elevating your vibration, and see how it starts to bring you health, and see how it starts to bring you prosperity, and see how much we kind of just, it's like we think ourselves into into negativity, into a low frequency, into low vibration. You understand what I'm saying? We think ourselves into these things, right? So sometimes just give the mind a rest. Sometimes give the conscious mind a rest. Sometimes give the unconscious mind a rest. Sometimes just go within and hit the reset button, right? Detach from your normal things that you do on a day-to-day basis, the routine that you have. And if anything disrupts that routine, right, you get upset. But if you want a new life, just start to do some new things. Start to experience some new things, right? Start to do things differently from how you used to do it, because you keep creating the same life over and over and over and over and over again. But yet still, you still want something new. You want something different, right? So when it's all said and done, we have a role in the way that we build our lives as well. It's not something where we're 100% at the mercy of our environment. We have a role to play as well. So how are you going to show up? How are you going to play that role? How are you going to play that role? Thank you so much, DOC. All the best to you as well, Adam. Yeah, guys, don't fight the flesh, man. Work with it. Work with it. Work together. It's all a part of you. Can you imagine you're in turmoil? You're fighting yourself. Your higher self and your lower self are fighting each other. Alignment. Work together with it. Be at peace with it. Observe these negative thoughts. And by meditating, you'll learn how to do that. I have no idea how I'm going to play that role, brother. Still trying to figure it out. Well, you're in the right place, because gradually we're going to open up the book chapter by chapter, right? and we're gonna read this thing together. You get what I'm saying? Thank you so much, guys. You guys always remember to say something positive to yourself tonight before you go to your bed, right? Say it, feel it, believe it. Tomorrow when you wake up, do the same thing. Right throughout the day, continue to try to, whenever you get out of shape or out of balance, get yourself back into balance. Take care, guys. Love you and I respect you, all of you. Take care. Bye-bye.